I'd like you to look at this photograph. In this game, I'm the Thousand Suns versus Iron Warriors. This is a Tempest of War game. I got the first turn, and this is the board state after my first turn. Can you spot the big problem? No, ignore the fact that none of it is painted. That's half of the course if you know anything about me. That's not the problem here. No, don't worry about this guy that's kind of hanging out in the tree. He's fine. It's just that's how he rolls. It's not a problem. That's not the issue. Yeah, look, okay, these rubrics are pretty far up for turn 1. I did a lot of teleport shenanigans, but I mean, that's not the problem. I mean, it might be a problem, but that's not the specific problem that I'm trying to talk about. Stop looking at so many problems. It's look out, sir. All right? It's in the title of the video, probably. It's look out, sir. For beginners like me, look out, sir is a rule in the core rulebook that says you cannot shoot at an enemy character with 9 or less wounds while it is standing within 3 inches of a friendly unit that contains 1 monster, 1 vehicle, or 3+ other models, excluding character models with 9 wounds or less, unless it is the closest target. It's not a complicated rule by any stretch of the imagination, but it is one that I keep making mistakes on, especially with Thousand Suns. You see, the problem I have is I'm trying to do too many things. So with Thousand Suns, there's a lot of shenanigans you can do within the movement phase and the psychic phase to move stuff around. I wanted to push stuff up the board and get things into certain positions, but I always seem to leave characters open, and characters are so important. My plan here was to get these Scarab Occult Terminators moved up to my Exalted Sorcerer on disc. I wanted to use Temporal Surge to move them further, which allowed them to get to where they are. Unfortunately, that meant that I forgot that they would then no longer be protecting Ahriman, although they are protecting the Exalted Sorcerer, and I wanted the Exalted Sorcerer there so he's close enough to do psychic powers. The worst part about this plan, unfortunately, is eagle-eyed viewers amongst you might notice that my Exalted Sorcerer is not protected. In Steve's first turn, he destroys Ahriman with the Hellbrute because he's completely open, and he charges these Terminators into my Exalted Sorcerer on the right flank because he's got no protection there at all. The actual rule of Lookout Sir isn't really the important part of this video. The important part, for beginners especially, is not to plan above your ability. What I mean by that is that I clearly had ideas of what I wanted to do on my first turn. I wanted to push up the board, and the cards that I drew in the Tempest of War game, the one I got was to attack the enemy's home objective, which is what I wanted to do. You can argue whether that was a good idea. It wasn't. But the problem there is I'm obviously thinking about so many movement shenanigans, teleporting around, that I forgot core simple rules. If I hadn't tried to do that, if I just played a bit safer and just a bit smarter, took the time to think about what I was doing, Ahriman and my Exalted Sorcerer would have been protected. Yes, I might not have got as many spells off, I might not have been able to do as much damage as I did, but the damage I did wasn't really that useful. I destroyed a few things on this flank at his home objective, but those rubrics got destroyed next turn as well. So I've lost all these rubrics and 2 characters. Basically, the game is over. And that's essentially what happened. I got a fairly decent lead at the start of the game, but I just could not hold on to it. I had nothing left. He could fire everything, charge everything into my Terminators. I only had another 5 at the back here, and they were really just kind of holding objective. They weren't doing a whole lot else. The Chauncey, my Museless Vortex Beast, bless him. He tried his best, but he just didn't do anything. I didn't have any spells that I could really use on the Chaos Spawn here, so they just died in melee pretty quick, and that was kind of it. So the takeaway lesson that I wanted to share here is not so much Look Out Sir, which is of course a very important rule, but it's making sure that those are the rules as you're learning the game that you're really keeping in mind. Whether it's Tempest of War or Match Play or whatever, don't tunnel vision stuff when you're not used to some of the rules, because this will end up happening, and it happens to me a lot. I've lost so many characters, so many important characters. Yes, I actually did quite well in my first turn. I think I got 15 secondary points and got a lot of primary in the next turn because I was holding this middle objective. But from turn 2 onwards, I could not score anything. I got no points, lost all that primary, and then just got run over by turn 3. So even though it seemed like a good idea, forgetting Look Out Sir cost me so much more than the 15 points I gained from the secondary. That's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching once again. If you enjoy this, please go ahead and subscribe. Leave a comments down below about mistakes you make and stuff that I should probably know about as well. And I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.